Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Alicia Dianne Art. I am Alicia Dianne, and I'm so glad to have you guys. We are going to go back into our book club. So, we're launching our book club study. This is our second book. It's called Selling for Dummies, and I am admittedly a dummy when it comes to selling. I am new at this. I am trying my best to learn. I think it's important for every artist because I like to say that I think every artist is an entrepreneur. So I think that it's important to know how to talk about your art, how to like approach people who might be interested in your art, how to just be able to be at a convention or an art fair or whatever and feel comfortable and not feel like you have to be pushy or anything. So that's the whole idea of us studying this, to just give us a better idea and some insight into the art of selling so that we can all grow in this. I think it's a very important subject, especially if you would like to be a full-time artist. And the author's name is Tom Hopkins. So Tom Hopkins, this is obviously part of the series, the For Dummies series. So it's broken down and there's like a specific structure. So I would like to go about this book reading it in 2 chapter intervals, so 2 chapters a week. I started this week with the introduction and chapter 1. So the introduction read very much like a regular chapter, just like kind of just a rundown of the way that things are going to be going and what to expect from the book. Let me see how many chapters are in total. There's 23 chapters in total, so it'll be roughly 3 months that we'll be working through this book. All right, so let me see if there's like some of the insights that I can share with you. So first of all, this guy is like obviously very successful at selling. I didn't know who he was. I had never heard his name before, but he is a real estate salesperson. He dropped out of college and got into real estate. Really struggled at first, and then like sort of mastered selling. And from what I recall, he became a millionaire by age 27. So that's like a pretty amazing accomplishment, and has managed to stay a millionaire. And now he leads like selling seminars. I think he said he leads like 50 a year, so that's roughly like once a week, and then taking like a 2 week vacation. So he does this full time. He does sales full time. He teaches other people how to sell. He has his own like corporation. So I think that he is very, I guess, what would the word I would use be called, like competent, or like he's definitely worthy of you know writing this book. I know they only pick people who are in the field, who are know what they're talking about. So I was glad to hear all of the things that I heard about him before, that I heard about him in the introduction. Let me see. What did we cover? One and about the book, it was really like the way he introduced selling in general was like it's basically like learning to be more of a people person. I know, and this is something that might seem like not a big deal to a lot of people, but for us artists, we know like we're already introverted, most of us in the first place. A lot of us have other varying things that make it hard to talk to people. So I think that it's helpful that being a people person is something that you can learn to do. It's something that I've certainly have learned to try my best to develop over the years, and I'm still like, all right, I can get better at this. I can grow at this. It's something that I definitely know that I can get better at. Let's see, what else did he just like what to expect as far as like the layout of the book, like how things are numbered when things are highlighted, like they have like little icons that they use. So I think that's kind of standard with the For Dummies series as well. Let's see, some things that also stood out, just what to expect from each section. So there's like several sections in the book. I think there's 6 sections, and he broke down just basically what each one is going to cover, and kind of explained for the people who want to come in and read this book as more of like a handbook that you just refer to from time to time, which I think is great. But I want us to read the whole thing through. I think it's always best if you, even if you have something as a reference book, as like a handbook, I think it's good to read the whole thing through so you know what's in the content, and then you can come back to it whenever you want to just kind of refer back to what you highlighted and all of that thing. But I always think that even if you're going to use something as a reference, if it's like, especially if it's like career related or personal life related, I think read through the whole thing and then use it as a reference book. So Going into chapter 1, he did sort of put down a definition of what selling is. And let me see if I can get that specific definition of what he put. If I can find it. Okay, so it says selling is a process of communication in which the seller imparts knowledge and information to the buyer in order to win the buyer over to the seller's ideas, concepts, products, or services. So I think that's very useful. Just even having like just an idea, a clear idea of what is selling, so that we can know, like, even if you're trying to get a freelance position, if you're trying to get a client to work on a book, or whether you're working in a magazine, or whether you're in an actual job interview, all of these things apply to the idea of selling. So I think that that's really important to know. It's not just like if you're working in a car dealership, that's not what it's about. I think the word selling, or like the profession of selling, has like a certain connotation attached to it. But I think if we actually look at it, it's really everything. And I think that's one of the things that he really wanted to get into the reader's head in chapter 1, is that how much of our life involves selling, including the chair that we sit in, the desk we sit at, the schools we go to, the jobs we have, even our partners in life. All of those things are related to selling, and all of those things involve selling in one way or another. And it's not necessarily like a manipulative thing. It's sometimes it's like, especially when it comes to personal relationships, like you're letting someone know who you are, what you stand for, what your values are, all the things that are important to you, so that hopefully if they can, relate to that, if something about that reaches them, then that's when you have that connection, which basically like you made the sale. It's in a sense, it's like you've made that sale, and they've made that sale to you as well. It's like it goes vice versa. He did talk about the different types of selling. Like he talked about telemarketing, which I don't even know if it's like relevant anymore, but I do still get some calls. And I think sometimes, and I realize in some ways when people do call you one-on-one, like if you signed up for like, you're interested in a school or you're interested in a program, then you might get a phone call to like sort of like, this is I think where it more comes to line, when the person has already expressed interest, and then someone calls you back to follow up, to just kind of see, like, gauge your interest and kind of try and pitch to you a little bit in a less obvious way. And I think that type of phone sales does come to play for all of us, because at some point you're going to be on the phone with a potential client, or like a potential somebody that you might work with. So I think that can come in handy. He did talk about online sales, or like email, and just like the different avenues, I guess. It was just more like a breakdown of the different avenues of sales, even like snail mail and like cataloging, and how that only gets like 1% of people, but at the same time, if you're a big brand, you can really continue to gain like long-term customers through that. So I thought that was a good little piece of advice. And another thing that he kind of broke down was just how people that we less obviously think of like salespeople have been able to sell us through like their skill with charisma, talking. Like he mentioned like Franklin Roosevelt and Martin Luther King Jr., and just their speaking ability, was that ability to communicate in a powerful way, which is ultimately what sales is. So that was nearing the end of chapter 1. I'm excited to read chapters 2 and 3 for next week. Let me know if you got the book. If you haven't already, I'm going to be posting it up on the Discord, and if you're interested, I'm going to have it on the Meetup link as well. So make sure that you check it out. I think it's only like it's like $18, I think. But I think it's worth the while, especially if you're able to earn that back, which that is sort of the idea of us reading this book. So join us in for the next one. Next week we'll be reading chapters 2 and 3, and I'll do a review same time. So go ahead and check us out, and leave in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about this book so far, what you think about my review, or any other comments. Thank you guys so much. 640 people have subscribed so far, so thank you guys. Continue to subscribe. I really truly appreciate it. And I will be seeing you guys in the next video tomorrow. So until then, be grateful, live balanced, be yourself, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.